So we have just heard that this vote of confidence has passed. The quorum for Parliament was 65. That's how many MPs they needed to get there in order to be able to hold the vote. And they won by 63 MP votes to 20 against and just one abstention. However, what's interesting is that while some MPs had said they would boycott, there were another 30 MPs that were supposed to go there and vote against. So it would have been a higher number against. And had those MPs who decided to vote against the government not attended the session, they wouldn't actually have reached quorum and they would not have been able to hold this vote. Now, all day we saw MPs speaking. First, we had Hassan Diab, the new Prime Minister, laying out this cabinet statement and their plans, saying that they were going to tackle corruption. That, of course, is something they've been saying regularly, saying that they were going to figure out some plans to try and help the poorest in society. They were going to work on local industry, local commerce, and try and set things up so that people were more eager to buy Lebanese produce and boost the market here. But he also said that they were going to abide by the austerity measures that international donors have said they have to enact in order to access the 11 billion in the potential funds for Lebanon. That concerns a lot of people because many Lebanese here feel they cannot face any more austerity. They're already in dire conditions. Now, as I say, MPs speaking all day, their opinions on the cabinet for and against, and the vote was actually supposed to be held tomorrow. This was scheduled as a two-day session. But unsurprisingly, they did decide to run late and hold it tonight because it was such an effort to get the MPs into the building today that, of course, they did not want to have to go through that all again tomorrow.
All right, so we saw in the report before we spoke to you there, Leila, determined protesters who are ready to fight till the bitter end, violent scenes outside of Parliament. But beyond Parliament Square, is there the sense that, well, a bit of weariness at this point and it's time to return to normal, as it were?
So there is a lot of weariness. We actually hadn't seen protests like this for nearly 2 weeks. And a lot of the protesters who were out today had come from other parts of Lebanon. This wasn't just Beirutis. People came and stayed overnight. Last night, Beirutis opened their houses to protesters who wanted to come from other parts of Lebanon and stay the night. And many camped out here. And we saw several thousand people out in the streets. As I say, we haven't seen numbers like that for a little while. Huge amounts of violence today. More than 350 people injured. 45 of those people had to be taken to hospital. We saw from 7:30 in the morning security forces deploying water cannon, rubber bullets, tear gas, huge amounts of tear gas to clear people all day. It was very clear that they had been told that the parliamentary session must go ahead and they must stop any protesters getting in. So we saw really renewed vigour in the protests today, saying we have no confidence in this government and we are going to take out to the streets. But they did eventually clear by late afternoon, even before the parliamentary session had closed, almost seeming to accept that it was a foregone conclusion that as the MPs had entered the chamber, they were likely to approve this government, to vote yes. Whether this continues the protests now is unclear. You say return to a new normal. There is no normal for people right now. While these protests have been going on for the last few months, there's been a severe dive in the economy. So for people, they say, what normal? We can't just go back to the old life. We now know what we're capable of in terms of protests, but we also can't face our daily lives, and we don't feel that this government is doing anything to help that.